you comic book day geeks, and welcome to issue 80 of the Script Heroes podcast. I'm Katie.
And I'm Joseph, and today we have 6 new books to talk to you guys about. It's going to be Nightwing issue 127, Titans issue 24, Invincible Universe Battle Beast issue 2, Blood and Thunder issue 2, Bug Wars issue 5, and Exquisite Corpses issue 2.
That's right, be sure to hit subscribe to add our show to your pull list, and let's jump right into Nightwing.
Nightwing issue 127. The writer of the series is Dan Waters, who's worked on Detective Comics, Lucifer, and Homesick Pilots. The artist of the series returning to the book is Dexter Soy of Red Hood and the Outlaws, Suicide Squad, and Batman and the Outsiders. The colorist is Veronica Gandini, and the letter is Wes Abbott. Katie, talk to me about arguably your favorite character.
Arguably. Arguably, there he is again. And you know what? Technically it's Hush, but I choose to believe that's Dick Grayson Batman anyway. Just kidding, he's too thick. I love Nightwing, and I have really enjoyed the Dan Waters series that we've got, and I am so thrilled that Dick's... Did you just do that directly into your mic?
I did.
Just get ASMR'd. No, now you have to slowly unsheath it into your mic as well.
No, I didn't want to go. I don't want to go with you. Yeah, I didn't think you would have derailed as much on my joke. So
it's too bad. This is a squeaky episode. We're doing great. So Nightwing, Dan Waters, he's doing such a good job. I am really glad that we're back into our main plot as opposed to our little 2-issue side plot, which Jay and I had various feelings on.
Yeah,
I feel like this was a good return. I do think that we see perhaps a little more of civilian Dick than we've been used to, because we've talked, especially with Dexter Soy's art, he does such awesome Nightwing art, but sometimes when they're like just hanging out, it's a little... The style, it lends itself really well to like action and drama and like masks and shit. Yeah, look at that. I was also so thrilled when I saw the cover, and I was like, oh, new costume, because I do really love, I do deeply love the Bruno Redondo Nightwing costume. I think it's so good. I think it's so classic, so beautiful. But it's fun. It's fun to have things change up. And
we like different costumes.
We love different costumes. I was immediately nervous when the issue started, because I immediately clocked the character who was being introduced, because I recognized it. Yeah.
It was, I think, fairly obvious.
Right, okay, then I'll say it's Nightmite, who I think artistically very cute, especially when Bruno Redondo draws him dancing. In the plot of him, I'm concerned about him being back for like the first issue of our return to like serious Nightwing.
A character who's like tonally very far away from what Dan Waters' run felt like it was doing.
Yeah, so I'm very concerned about that, frankly. I think that what they did with him was fucked up in a good way. And I'm like, okay, I'm on board with this. But it's weird, because even in Taylor's run, Nightmite was a part of like a one-shot, like a little one-off filler issue. And I'm like, okay, I don't know that we need Nightmite to be like front and center for a thing. But I am very excited for the Cirque to be around, the Cirque, where the like spooky fifth dimensional puppet master dude. Yeah. Ringmaster lad. So very fun. I think that there was a lot going on in this issue that felt like the start of a new arc, as opposed to like a continue of momentum. So like it feels like we kind of have to get our wheels underneath us again. But I'm willing to be along on that ride with Dan Waters' run, because it's been really, really excellent so far.
Yeah. I think I agree with a lot of what you said there. I think for me, a lot of it probably felt better because it was coming off the 2-issue arc, so I was kind of just happy to be kind of back with our team and back with like this more style of story. That being said, did Dexter Soy's artwork look different to you in this issue than it did in the arc before? I don't know if it's a different colorist or what it looked different to me, which is maybe just me forgetting what it looked like after 3 issues, but it felt different to me. Just a little aside.
I think that specifically the civilian scenes were a little different. like because
Yeah,
he has that kind of like anime manga style, and I
yeah.
feel like it is maybe moving, I don't know, a little bit away from
I
that.
feel like
Like the
shock.
this
Like the first page is actually like one of the best examples of this to me. Like it's got like a very, I don't know,
yeah.
that
I
look.
still really like it though.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
But to get back on the story, I like a lot of what it's doing. I like this side of Nightwing a lot, which I've talked about. I have one extra criticism, which maybe it might be one that you don't like.
Oh no.
Um, but it's something that I think was more noticeable with this issue because she
Okay.
was more front center. But I'm starting to get the vibes across this whole series that I'm not loving that Babs doesn't really feel like a character to me.
I get that.
Because I know you've loved his dialogue with Babs and stuff, but Babs is very much just feeling like,
My girl.
non-character girlfriend, perfect woman,
That's what I was about to say.
vibe.
She's written very, because I think that Barbara Gordon has in the past been uh characterized as like kind of perfect. Like she
Yeah,
often gets that, and I think that a lot of that comes from like, the girl in the group of guys. So of course she's going to be better than them at everything
yeah.
because like, I don't know, girl power, I guess. Um
Because
and
the people are always scared that writing them as actual nuanced, complex characters will somehow be worse.
right?
And make them
And
seem
I do agree. I think that especially because there's like this running like witticism with Dick and Babs through this issue, which I thought had a cute payoff, but
yeah.
like in the moment I was like, Jesus Christ, dude, like this is a
Yeah.
little much.
Agree, and
And
I think it really popped out to me in this issue because she's more a part of the plot, and I always
mm,
assume like, oh, and that's a good thing because she's in all these issues. It makes sense that she actually like will be a part of the plot,
yeah,
but it really kind of stood out to me that like, oh, but she's not really a character. Like she's not, you know,
yeah,
doing it, and it doesn't feel like she has opinions or like any sort of like, I don't know, 3-dimensional characterization. Dick's sister actually gets a lot more in this issue, despite
good old Melinda.
what happens to no spoilers what happens on that front. If you read this issue, you will be shocked that she somehow felt like she had more going on in this issue than Babs.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I hope that changes because I getting the feeling that this is kind of I'm hoping at least this is the setup for Babs to be more of a like full blown character in the
I would
series
hope
moving
so.
forward.
Especially 'cause she
Um,
even has the line in the issue where she's like, "Don't worry about me. I'm literally a superhero." Like,
yeah, yeah. Also, a line that was a little though like clunky in its
oh,
delivery of
yes,
like,
yes,
yeah,
agreed.
we know that was a
But
little
the
bit of
thing
a
is, she like doesn't often get to be anymore because
yeah,
a lot of what happens with Babs nowadays is just her like kind of oracling.
Oracle,
And
yeah.
I love her oracling. I think that her oracling is phenomenal. But also, like, it'd be fun to see her in the field if we're gonna like have her front and center like this. I think it'd be delightful.
It just feels like it makes sense with like the way that she's intertwined with the cure for her to be a more like full blown character
Yeah.
in this series. So I hope that that's what we see moving forward. That's the big thing that I'd like out of it. Night Might, I hope we kind of do away with as soon as possible. But aside from those things, I actually really do like the direction that the book is
Hmm.
going. I think overarching plot wise, and there's a lot to like. New suit
Agreed.
is
Agreed.
fun.
New suit. Gotta love new suit. And I really like the way the new suit was introduced.
It's just the Young Justice suit for the most part.
It's pretty Young Justice code. Yeah. Um.
I
Yes.
think the blue shoulder pads are new. I don't think he has blue shoulder pads in Young Justice. So there you go.
No. Everything. The only blue thing on his Young Justice suit is his emblem.
Yeah. So there you go. I actually really do like the shoulder pads though. It's a nice like.
Oh
You know?
yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
I also
um,
love the shins. I love when Nightwing has like blue accents all over. That's why I like
I
his
like that
little
it's
like
like that it's not like a solid
stripey.
blue boot, and then it's like the
Hmm.
you know
Yeah.
I don't know what you
Like
call it like all.
armor.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
But in any
But
case,
those of you at
yeah.
home, have you been enjoying this new run on Nightwing? Do you think that Nightwing is going to get superpowers in the next issue by saying Nightwing is awesome? And do you think that they're going to bring Haley back, Bitewing, the puppy, to give her superpowers as well? Because that's also what happened last time Nightmite was here. Let us know in the comments down below. And we're
We've
going to go
got
talk about
yeah.
Titans. Titans number 24. This is coming to us from writer and friend of the podcast, John Layman, of In Hell We Fight, The Scorched, and Chew. The artist is Pete Woods of Robin, Action Comics, and Deadpool, and the letterer is Wes Abbott. Jay, we have gone absolutely nutso for John Layman's Titans run,
Yeah.
and we have the return of Terra, which I think on pod you and I have talked before, where we're always a little concerned if they're gonna just like run back some sort of Judas contract thing, which always feels like a risk.
Yeah, it's got to be
around.
the most retread storyline that is not an origin in comic book history. Like, it is been adapted to death, been retreaded to death. So I think there was certainly a lot of concerns about that online, especially because a bunch of like covers with Terra started coming out for future issues and stuff. We talked about this briefly last week. That being said, that's not really what's going on here at all.
Nope.
Terra is just a character that is in the book, which I think we talked off pod, where it's like, I know people are losing their mind. Terra can just be a character.
Yeah.
Like, that is a thing that can happen.
In fact, that's how you avoid more Judas contracts, if you let her become a character outside of. Yeah.
And that is the case here, which is very nice. I want to start with my one slight gripe with this issue, which is that I find the beginning very disorienting, because we start jumping forward. We then go to like a middle time where they're talking, and then we get a bunch of the story in a flashback where they explain how they got there. I literally, because initially we jumped forward and then we went back, I'm like, oh, so this is just the time now. And they're like recovering from a fight, and I was like, so I go back to the last issue and I start like, no, that doesn't make sense. And then I realized that we're going to jump time again. So I think the two time jumps a bit too far, starting with a splash and then going back, something that happens, starting with them talking and then doing a flashback, fine. Doing both back to back, little disoriented. That's my slight gripe. Once we get past that, this is a really, really good issue. We're finally like on after a lot of like single issue type things, we're finally on now a story that is going to take multiple issues to play out. And that is very, I think, exciting for a book that's like built up your interest in the characters and in this version of the team before throwing you into this big, a showdown with Slade and his, what are they called, the team?
The Crime Syndicate.
The Crime Syndicate. With the Crime Syndicate, which are just full of good Titans villains, which is very exciting. And then Killer Frost, who's a good villain, but not really a Titans villain.
I like the claiming of her though. I think
it's a good place. I think it's a good place for her. But I just wanted to call that out because there's a lot of like classic Titans villains, and then also Killer Frost. But in any case, finally kind of building up to the showdown with them is really great. We get a lot of it in this like explained flashback, which is, maybe not your favorite way for a big kind of encounter to go because where the characters end up. But it's used really well to kind of go into what's her face, robot girl whose name I can
Venadia.
Venadia and what she's doing, which I don't want to spoil because that's like the big kind of end to the issue. But that was fantastic. I think once we get there, especially, that's when this issue goes from like, okay, this was good and entertaining, but I think some of the stakes were kind of gone because it was done in that like explained flashback sense. But once then we go into that with Venadia going and doing what she does, the stakes get really, really high. It gets really intense, really exciting, and the Crime Syndicate just feel very intimidating. Like, this is a very intimidating Deathstroke, and I like that a lot. So overall, really,
that was one of the reasons that I was so bummed that we didn't get to really see the fight. Like, we see kind of a montage of the fight, like on a big splash page, a bunch of different things happening at once. And it's like beautiful and it's fun, and I really liked the art on it, and I liked what we saw. But because this is such an intimidating Deathstroke, it makes me even more bummed that we didn't get to see the actual fight with Deathstroke. There's this like beautiful montage of the fight where we see like a bunch of things that happen, and we see like a single interaction between Beast Boy and Deathstroke. But even that gets interrupted by, spoiler alert, the introduction of Terra. And I was just like, come on. We ended on a big cliffhanger where the Titans were going into an ambush laid by Deathstroke. And then we didn't get to really watch them fight Deathstroke. There wasn't really a kind of blow-to-blow fight happening. I'm like, no, my favorite thing in the world is watching Nightwing fight Deathstroke. Let me watch Nightwing fight Deathstroke. And we get like the classic, the classic sword across the chest. But I'm like, no, this is happening in the past and like in montage. Give me the fight. So I was a little bummed about that. But I
That's
do think that the lineup of these Titans, the way that John Layman writes these Titans, makes
yeah,
just every issue with them so entertaining. It's so
fully agree.
good. We didn't even touch on the continued, like, incredibly background will they won't they of Roy and Donna, which
Well,
I'm surprised by how much I like it. Like,
I'm so curious though, because on this one they touched on like what's going on in the Green Arrow book. And I'm like, I'm wondering what's going on in the Green Arrow book because he mentions Cheshire here, and I'm like,
yeah.
is Roy doing some fucked up shit here?
Well, it's Cheshire, so I'm sure they're not like going steady or anything. But like I was so shocked. I think that the real key to their relationship becoming this like actually exciting story for the two of them is Donna being in the leader position. I think that's what makes it, because Roy is such like a contrarian and like so
Yeah,
like I don't know, anti-authority. It's like, okay, this adds this extra layer to it where like yes, he respects Donna and he's more or less gonna do what Donna says because, you know,
yeah.
he's
We call
anti-authority, but
in the
also
last issue the hilarious like my boyfriend. We're going now. Okay, bye.
bye Wally. And we had again this one like, why is this like my new like favorite part of these issues? Like they're so well written,
I think
even
because it's not overdone,
tiny
like it's not
moments.
getting
Mhm.
full issue focus or anything. It's like you get like a page or an
Yeah,
encounter per issue, which helps keep it like
yeah, it keeps it so like, oh my god, are they gonna? And I think that
full
it,
season.
I'm so delighted by it. I literally don't know that I've been this delighted by like a romance subplot in a comic in forever. Because like I feel like every couple is just done to death, and every romance is
Yeah.
just these couples with long sordid histories. And I'm like, oh my god, this is so fresh and new. This is so cute. Um, so I'm really excited by it. That being said, I do continue to find anytime Raven and Beast Boy interact to be like a little much. But that's like it's not a layman problem. That's a literally anybody trying to write these characters because that's how the two of them are problem.
Yeah, they are.
Tara was my
Whew.
first love, but you're my true love.
Oh my god, I don't even it did though. Let me bring up like in this issue somewhere. I was like, yeah, it would kind of suck to date an empath, right? Like she knows if you have any feeling toward anyone ever.
It would suck to be an empath dating someone.
Yeah, true,
It's just like,
true.
oh man, he's still got feelings for Tara.
Oh.
I think that those two are truly like impossible to write.
At this point, since they made that relationship into like such a
Exactly.
thing, which is at this point at 15 years, I don't know,
Something
at least
like that.
something like
'Cause
that.
I think one of the problems is that the like status quo of their relationship is so like teenager coded that
Yeah,
it's always like, oh my god, you guys, you're adults. Please.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
trusting you to save the world. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Oh,
Ugh.
it was
But
rough,
I
buddy.
love this issue.
No, this is a great issue.
It is kind of a romance filled issue, in that there are two instances of romance. Um,
Like if you mean like it happens in the book multiple
yeah,
times, then
here's the thing,
like
I feel like
yeah,
comparatively,
I
comparatively
know
to like
what.
any other book that we read.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. I think you said this issue of Titans. I was like, we had an entire romance issue of Titans, so
No. We had the Valentine's Day issue.
yeah, yeah,
But I feel like that's something that I really you don't see in a lot of we kind of talked about this when we were talking about one of the Batman books recently, where it's like people don't get to have like lives outside of their capes anymore, which
yeah.
kind of includes romances. Like Dick's gotten a
Totally agree.
few. Granted, the most recent one was when he was Rick.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought Rick actually got not Dick.
Well, the thing is, I really liked Dick's romance with Sean Sang in Tim Seeley's run. I thought that was super fun. The Defacer. It's like I who would have thought? I'm like I love when there's a little bit of romance in the comics when it's like kind of fresh stuff where it's like, oh, I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what their relationship is. This is cute to watch them figure it out. So I was positively delighted by this issue because on top of that, John Layman with the amazing issue enders, just constantly.
Oh my god, yes. Oh, so good.
So psyched. But tell us, dear listeners, how do you feel about romancing your comics? Do you want to see more Beast Boy and Raven? Do you want to see that sweet, sweet Arsenal and Donna Troy? Look, it's cute. Let us know in the comments down below, and we are going to move right along to talk about Bug Wars.
Bug Wars issue 5. The writer of the series is Jason Aaron, who's worked on Southern Bastards, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Absolute Superman. The artist is Mehmed Asar, who's worked on Conan the Barbarian, X-Men, and Batman and Robin. The colorist is Matt Wilson, and the letterer is Becca Carey. This is the penultimate issue of
Insane.
this mini-series. Why don't you talk to me about it, Katie? You were not the biggest fan of issue 4, which was a lot of journeying.
Yes, I think that the trouble that I've had as we've gone forward is Slade's character. Like he feels it feels like he has a lot of unearned growth to me. And I think that continues in this one as well, where he even like in his monologue makes comments about how he's like, yeah, like, you know, I'm just a little guy. I miss my mom. I want to vomit and I feel like I'm going to shit myself. And I'm like, okay, yes, you are those things. And those are the parts of you that I feel like are like the stuff we were introduced to your character with. And then he like suddenly got confidence and stuff like that. And I was like, where's this coming from? Like if it stemmed from, I don't know. I like it when it's a like reasonable anger reaction, like when they were taunting him about like killing his brother. I'm like, okay, yeah, that feels like a time where you can like pull that shit from down deep and like bust out. But I'm still a little torn on him because I'm like, Slade, I wish that you went on a little more of a. I wish that he had like faced more challenges, I guess, because I feel like a lot of the times when he's facing down against things, it ends up being one of those just like dig deep and win things. Like obviously in the first 2 issues, he was the first issue. When was the bug fighting arena? Was that issue 1?
That's issue 2. That's issue 2.
So in those 2 issues, he has a couple of L's, but it feels like he didn't like necessarily learn from those losses and grow from them. It just feels like he kind of skipped that step and was grown from them. I think that continues a little here, but this goes back to what I really, really, really love in Bug Wars, which is the insane world building of this like front yard. Like all of the factions, I love all of the generals and leaders. I love the like personality that Jason Aaron put onto them to like match with their bug type. Like the Legion of Ants is so good. The like barbarian beetle people, so fun. I love every time we get to just like see the bug world interacting with the bug world. And we got a lot of good stuff as they like met the leader of the maggots in the Dead Dog Minister or something. It was so good. I was like, yes, this is what I want on a Bug Wars. Hell yeah, this is what made me fall in love with Bug Wars. And I really enjoyed everything that we saw there. There's something at the very end that I didn't love, but that's fine. Major spoiler at the very end.
Yeah, no, maybe the biggest of spoilers that could be given. So I'd steer, but I agree.
Yeah, we got so much good just like Bug War world content that I was just thrilled with this issue.
Yeah, I agree with Eliza, but interestingly, I think your biggest praise of this book is the reason behind your biggest criticism of this book.
That's fair.
Which is, I think this issue, especially for the penultimate issue, spent way too much time on world building in this issue. Like, Slade is barely in this issue, which for penultimate issue, especially with what happens to him and like what he gets out of this issue, feels like a weird choice to me. Like, yes, all the world building is very well done. It's cool. It's interesting. But this issue in particular was one where I was like, can we get back to Slade? Like, he needs to, this is penultimate issue. Like, he needs to do things
like,
here.
He needs
like,
to
this
go
is
through something.
Yeah. But instead he kind of just comes out of it and we just kind of don't get to see it really. And I was like, that is a choice for penultimate issue. And it's not my favorite choice for penultimate issue at all. So yeah, I agree with a lot of it. Like I think that I didn't really agree as much with the character concerns in the previous issue. This issue, absolutely, because he is barely even
Yeah.
in it. And yeah, I don't know, the world building stuff very good, but stuff that I feel like probably either should have been set up earlier or should have been done a little bit more concisely in this issue, so that we could have
Mhm.
been, more with our actual protagonist.
Or I feel like if along the way in the series we even focused on Slade a little less, like if he wasn't framed so centrally as the main character, and like, because I feel like Jason Aaron clearly had a lot of fun with the world building. So if
Yeah,
a bigger part of the book was dedicated to like the world of Bug Wars,
yeah.
and like Slade was maybe a smaller part of it, and we followed a couple of like bug people as well, and it was more of a, I guess
You're
that
just
would require
writing
a
a
lot
different
more.
book at this point.
I know, but like, because it feels like to
I know, but
me,
you just like because this is based around like the family and him going down, like you're just writing a
I,
different
f-
book at that point.
I feel
Like
like you
Slade
can
is very much
have
the main
a
character.
few different, a few different main characters going, even if they're not like directly related. But what I was about to say is that at that point you need a much larger book than
Yeah,
6 issues. So I will yet again be mean about miniseries-itis. Like, let me just
yeah.
have a
I
massive
thought
ass Bug Wars
maybe
book.
I'm misremembering. I thought they said that despite this being a that they did have like
I
plans
believe so
for
because they
more Bug Wars.
specifically call this Bug Wars Book One, Lost in the Yard.
Yeah, so yeah, I think they have plans for more Bug
Yeah.
Wars, but this is like the initial
Hmm.
arc, which is very much about Slade. So focus on Slade, especially if you have more books, you can do more world building in future volumes. Focus on your character and story that you
But
really want
Jay,
to
you
tell.
don't understand. The problem is that I don't really care about Slade, so I
Yes,
just want
that,
him to write the fun world building stuff.
I give up. Let's move on to the next. But I'm not going to get into this circular conversation. Um, I don't know. Let us know down below how you feel about miniseries that like are meant to be longer books, but start with a miniseries. That's very common nowadays, where
Yeah,
even books that, like are kind of intended to be ongoings are like started as miniseries
even like
because
big two books.
yeah. Oh yeah, plenty of that stuff.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that kind of style? Because it means that the book's both trying to like lay foundations for a long running book while also trying to wrap itself up in its miniseries. Difficult thing to balance.
Yes, very difficult. But we have more books to talk about, including Exquisite Corpses #2. Exquisite Corpses #2. All right, brace yourselves. So this is coming to us from writer-artist Michael Walsh of The Silver Coin, Secret Avengers, and Star Wars, with writer James Tinian the Fourth of Something's Killing the Children, House of Slaughter, and The Nice House on the Lake, and with artist Mariana Ignazi of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Catwoman, and Self-Help. The colorist is Jordi Belair, and the letter is Becca Carey J. The
Yes.
first issue of Exquisite Corpses was triple sized. We've talked before about how Image loves
Yes.
to do a double size first issue or an oversized
Yeah.
first issue. They did triple size, so we got a lot of content.
Yes.
How do you feel that this issue follows that up?
I think this issue needed to be triple sized too. Um, mainly what I'm saying with that is, they didn't go very far, and I think part of that is because they're doing this like killing off one
Yeah, this like bracket.
killer per issue thing, which I also dislike. That the bracket kind of spoils
Here, hold up.
to some extent who's going to die in each issue.
Right?
Now we know that 4 are safe next issue, and like somebody on the right hand side of the page is going to die. So
Here's
I
the
don't love
spoiler
that.
free bracket.
Yeah,
This is from last issue.
yeah. But in any case, the thing that I was disappointed on in this issue is that I didn't think the townsfolk were really as interesting or given as much. Like they do a lot. They're focused on for a lot of this issue, but like they don't really do a lot plot or character wise that matters, if that makes sense. Like it's kind of more like, oh, okay, they're going trick or treating. We're gonna maybe set up something that's gonna happen, and then we have a killing that happens in a gas station, but like the characters don't really get to do much except cower and be scared in that. So this issue, while it still has a lot of the really cool visual, honestly, the best story stuff that happened in this was like the behind the scenes rich families interacting.
I love the behind the scenes
which is
part.
phenomenal. All the interactions between those families have been great throughout the whole series, but were really, really good in this issue too.
Whole
But
series
yeah,
is issue 2.
It's issue 4.
I know, it's just, which is why it's funny.
We have 4 issues of content, even though this is issue 2. But yeah, so this issue was a slight step down for me. It's still a book that has a really good atmosphere, and I like a lot of what they set up. But I feel like this issue, on its own, especially coming off of all of what issue 1 did, didn't really feel like it did a ton.
Yeah, I think that you're spot on with that. I think especially about the townsfolk. That was one of the things that I was really excited with from the triple size issue. I'm
so
like,
good.
These characters are the ones who like are in real danger. Like obviously all of the killers are a danger to each other, but like of course we're not going to like deeply care about them because they're like murderers. These townsfolk are it seemed like they were going to be like the heart of the book, and I don't know that it delivered on that with most of them. The notable exception being, I still love the EMT. I think she's phenomenal. I think that she was able to get good characterization in this issue, and
That's
she
fair.
got to deal with like something interesting going on.
I agree.
So I still really like her, and I'm very nervous because she's, you know, in the ambulance of the killer. Yeah. So I'm very nervous about her, but I don't feel that with anybody else. Like, the boyfriend and the young
the
kid.
trick-or-treater. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm nervous, but not like so much so about them.
Yeah.
And
they're the ones who they got a lot of space to kind of just like walk around and talk in ways that were not really like relevant to anything.
Yeah. I was like, I don't need characterization on like the gamer murderer, actually. Like that's okay. Like we're not getting characterization on the other ones really. Like outside of when they're doing murder focused things. So I did think that was a bit of a bummer. The drop in investment in the townspeople.
Fully agree.
But I still love our EMT. She's the character that I've now attached myself to. I'm like, she's the one that I'm looking out for. I'm scared for her to die. The rest of them, I mean, I don't want them to die, but they were so charming.
That's Katie saying she does want them to die.
That's right. Because as long as they're the ones getting killed, then my EMT is safe.
I don't know that tracks. Only one killer dies per issue, but as many civilians as they want can die.
Only one civilian died this issue.
Yeah, that's true.
Checkmate.
But I think more than one died in the first. Did actually? I've also only been the one that died in the first issue.
Yeah, look at that.
I don't think that's a hard rule, though. They don't have a chart.
No, I don't think so either. I was it was a
bracket.
It was a nice coincidence to me. Honestly, that would be hilarious if they had the killer bracket, but then they also had, like, the townsfolk bracket. That'd be so fun.
That would just have you rooting even more, though, for everybody but the EMT to die.
Yes.
Especially whoever was in the bracket with the EMT. You'd be like, die,
like,
die,
you motherfuckers, die. I do want to give a big shout to Jordi Belair. I love the coloring in this book. It reminds me really a lot of Paper Girls, which has like the really bold kind of single color coloring. It's so fun. It makes the pages feel like they have so much energy. I feel like it adds a lot to scenes that are maybe even a little more boring, like the trick-or-treating scene. Like I feel like the way that this is colored makes it feel so exciting, and I really appreciated that. And you already touched on it, so I won't say anything besides. I love the behind the scenes stuff. The families are so great.
Yeah, it's really good. It's the best part of the book.
It's so good. So far. And I think that it's the most interesting part of the book. Like from the start.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so hard to follow up on a triple-sized, oversized issue.
Yeah.
But I think that there are things that it did well and some things that it fell short on, and I'm excited to keep going on the series.
Yeah, same. It's got a lot of forward momentum. That's the nice thing about the oversized first issue. There's a lot of momentum behind the series already. So, yeah.
Well, dear listeners, who do you think is going to win the bracket? I think that we all have a sense of who's going to win the top left part of the bracket, but who's coming in from the other areas? Let's put our bets in the comments.
Is that the side that the gunman's on? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So we know
my
who's
bet is that Recluse is going to.
No. Fox Mask Killer all day.
I mean, he's the cover of the first issue.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But then again. Anyway.
We have more books.
We have more books to talk about. Let's go do that when we talk about Blood and Thunder, number 2.
Blood and Thunder, issue
Both of
2. The writer of the series is Benito Cereno of Invincible presents Adam Eve and Rexplode, and The Tick. The co-story credit is on Robert Kirkman, who's worked on Invincible, The Walking Dead, and Void Rivals. The artist is E.J. Sue, who's worked on Tech Jacket, Cloudfall, and Transformers. The colors is Masitsk. I am so sorry. And the letter is Russ Wooten. I tried. Katie, we really liked issue 1 of Blood and Thunder.
Yes.
Issue 2. Talk to me about it.
So fun. First, want to give huge shouts to EJ Sue. This art is so fun. I love the vibes. It's so exciting. The way that the like big scary. I mean, Jay already showed the giant splash, but the way that the big scary alien is drawn, phenomenal. You love an alien that looks like an alien. Like he's got some kind of humanoid, like 2 arms, 2 legs, but then it really sells the alien with the big ass tentacly head and no eyes. So good. I thought that this was an issue that like took a big step forward because we didn't really meet this presumably antagonist in the first issue. We just saw him break out of prison and we never actually saw what happened. I love the like kind of like philosophical beast type of thing, which we'll get to later as well. He's so entertaining. Like he's clearly got such like a credo to him where he's like, yes, I've broken out with a purpose and I'm on a mission. And I love that so much more because I was fully convinced that whatever was in that cell was some sort of like eldritch abomination or something, like a world eater type of thing. I love that it's like a guy, like an alien, but like a guy. Yeah, like he's so spooky, and I feel like it's going to give us such great interaction between him and Blood. She has a name.
She has a name and a last name, and I'm blanking on both of them. And her first name is very complicated.
Yes. She's so fun. I do feel like we pulled away from her maybe a little too much in this issue. Like we get a lot of time with our villain. Yeah, I was gonna say we do get good backstory with her. Yes. I think that she's very fun in her youth as well. I think she's got a real strong charm to her. I love the backstory we get from her, and I feel like it was delivered pretty organically.
An exo, as they call them.
Exo, that's right. And I feel like her backstory was delivered in like a really smooth way. Like it didn't feel overplayed, especially since she like cut Thunder off from talking. Which, gotta talk about Thunder. He's so fun.
I love AI Gun. Such a good idea.
Love AI Gun. So yeah, this was a really exciting issue for me. How did you feel?
I love Blood and Thunder. This is such a cool concept, and it's being executed really well. Mm-hmm. You touched on a lot of what makes this issue so good. I really liked a lot of the backstory that we got because we got it in these snippets that were kind of like cut off because Blood was cutting off Thunder and like not letting him finish things, which was really nice. We got a little bit more, very little, but a little bit more on her father, who obviously is this like important looming figure. And the one thing I'll say about pulling away from her to set the villain in this isn't ongoing, so we don't have miniseries Titus. There's no like, oh man, we're a third of the way through the book now, and it's like, no, this book's gonna go.
We're going.
Yeah, so that always makes me a little bit more lenient on things.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
Ongoing. We just get to keep going, and I love the villain so much that like I was never upset when we pulled away to follow him doing his weird philosophical your money isn't real money because it's not coins that you can put on somebody's eyes to get them into the afterlife.
That was
only to then go into well, actually it doesn't matter because your kind doesn't have an afterlife, and then just fucking murdering the dude. Which was amazing and like so threatening. Could you imagine the last thing you hear is a guy telling you that your kind has no afterlife before you die?
You are murdered in front of your young son.
Oh yeah,
insane.
Brutal. So yeah, I really like this issue. I like the first issue a lot. I still think this was a huge step forward. Like this issue got me hyped as all hell. We talked about how like the hair thing was like just not really explained all the first issue. Her being an exo makes the weird blood hair. Obviously, we still don't know a lot about it, but it makes it like more of a thing. It's like, oh, she's an alien, so the weird hair is like an alien thing. At least. Yeah, I love this book, and you talked about EJ Sue's art. EJ Sue's so ridiculously good.
So
Like in those quiet, more character-driven moments, it's amazing. In the huge action and splash pages moments, it's amazing. EJ Sue is so good at evoking emotion and tone, uh, just across scenes. So, yeah, this book is really killing it for me right now.
oh yeah, great team, great book, great
Yeah.
concept across the board. Have you
Fully
been
agree.
reading Blood and Thunder?
Yeah.
Do you
Let
have a
us know.
preference for Blood or Thunder? Do you think that the Academy plotline is going to be relevant? Because that's the part that I'm least excited about. I'm hoping that she fucks off away from the
Well, they
IHPP or whatever it's called.
not to spoil, but I mean, either way, it doesn't seem like the Academy is
Probably.
relevant because the thing that was set up was about there being about no academy, not to spoil things.
I suppose the Academy, the police force of it all.
Oh, I
Yeah.
have a feeling it's going to be a big part of it. The book was originally going to be called Space Cops or something like
Space
that.
cops.
Space
The
Police.
villain called them space cops,
Yeah.
which was very funny. She's like, the space cops are here. But yeah, good times had by all. Because I'm assuming you all enjoyed it, and Jay and I both enjoyed it. So let's
Yes.
go and talk about our final book of the week, which is Battle Beast. Invincible Universe, Battle Beast. Number 2. This comes from writer Robert Kirkman of Invincible, The Walking Dead, and Void Rivals, and artist Ryan Otley of Invincible, The Hulk, and Spider-Man. The colorist is Annalise Leone, and the letterer, rather, is, surprise, surprise, Russ Wooten. Jay, you like
Plug
Battle
games.
Beast? Yeah, look at that.
I love a good like Coliseum fight
He loves
arena.
it.
It's one of my favorite tropes. It's very entertaining. This is a balls to the wall action issue of Battle Beast. He fights a lot of fuckers. He murders a lot of
So
fuckers.
many.
Um, this is a
Emphasis on the
very good.
fuckers a little bit. There's a little Captain Kirk stand-in, or I think technically like a Riker stand-in,
Yeah.
who's clearly trying to fuck aliens in the background.
Um, you've completely derailed me now. No, but it's a very good issue. Um, kind of a as I assume is probably going to be kind of the way with this book, a kind of side questy issue where he wants to get a suit for the little alien dude who he
Yes, the prince.
saved in the first issue, except not really saved, just
Kind of
kind of
saved for later.
saved for. There you go. But he wants to get a suit for him so they can get back to his home planet so that he can fight another uh, giant threat. So we have this little side quest to get the money to then buy the suit. So very side questy issue, which makes the plot very simple for the most part, aside from a great issue ender, which is always a big win. But it is just a lot of excuses for Ryan Otley to draw awesome action sequences and moments with Battle Beast, which is highly entertaining to me. So yeah, this was a very good issue, but mainly on the Otley artwork was, I think, the driving force. Though the story bits we got were good, in my opinion.
They certainly were. I think my big thing with the whole Prince alien thing is I feel like it feels there's no way to like really justify Battle Beast doing things for him. Like there's
We that's the whole setup of this issue is why he does things for him.
except the extra like there's no reason for him to like get the guy a mech suit.
I mean, the guy is the only guy who knows how to get him to his home planet.
Right, but he doesn't like hold that information over him. He's like, "Don't kill
It was
me."
a it was a I don't know, it was an exchange. They don't like explicitly say like, oh, I'll kill, but it's like we go here and then he's like, I'll get a suit and then we'll go back, and Battle Beast finds those terms acceptable. He's like, okay, I'll get you the suit and then I get to fight this dude. And especially then once we get on the planet, once like we were like, oh, well, why would he get the money? And then it's like, oh,
Like
then he
that,
gets like,
I think that was totally fine. Like, what I think that it's just tough when because they even give like the little bit of an excuse of he's like, oh, there's a station that would be able to like fix my body, and Battle Beast is like, I'm running low on weapons. I'm like, okay, I appreciate that you're throwing something in there, but I think that in a book where this is such a character with such singular purpose, And perhaps he gets more depth later. That I truly have no idea. I have not encountered Battle Beast before. To me, I'm just like, okay, he has this like singular purpose, and it feels like he's being a little bit conveniently deterred from it. Uh,
That's
and
fair.
then
I
in
didn't
the
think it
moment,
was.
I think that it works well. Like in the like fight ring moment where
Yeah,
the guy is like, "Oh, you could pay for the suit if you won the blood games," and Battle Beast is immediately just, blood games. Like, yes, that I loved, and that's like my only gripe. But that is why I was getting out of the way first. I don't think it's a major thing. I think that it just is a little difficult to be like, okay, it's nice of him to like do that, but this isn't a character who I would necessarily think of as nice. Uh,
yeah. I don't think it's because especially like Battle Beast at the end. Not to spoil it, but it kind of reaffirms that he's not being. I don't think it's really a nice moment so much as in his mind, it's like part of the deal. He's like, okay,
sure,
I'll do. I think it's like just a thing that he doesn't care about more so than him being like, uh,
that's
going out of his way to be nice.
that's
Like,
very fair. Like I also don't think that he is trying to go out of his way to be nice. Like it's not framed in that way, but it's just that the motivation in there was a little lacking for me. But outside of that, I think that it was phenomenal. Ryan Otley's art is really, really stupendous.
Ryan
You get to see
Otley's
so many
very
fun
good.
aliens, and I absolutely loved the way that the prince character like bounces off of Battle Beast, and I think that now that he has a body, he will be able to be much more of a character,
Yeah,
and one who's going to be able to really kind of offer that back and forth with Battle Beast, especially because Battle Beast kind of, I don't know, outplays the spaceship computer because it wants to like just leave him in the middle of nowhere to starve, and he's like, well, I'll tear you apart and then survive in space. So it's like, okay, what can the computer do now? Because it got that really great
yeah,
characterization of like the ship also wants to kill Battle Beast, so it's taking him these
yeah,
places. And so I think that with the introduction of the prince, he's going to be a really good force for Battle Beast to kind of bounce off of.
yeah. I think the ship's basically then it was because it like admits in this book that that was the most powerful. The first issues that was the most powerful like guy that it knew
Yeah,
about. So any idea of it bringing Battle Beast to somebody who's going to be able to kill him is kind of gotten rid
exactly.
of
So we
here.
do get
So
a fun comeuppance
yeah,
on that.
yes,
Yeah.
we do, which
Uh,
is the awesome cliffhanger. But I think that it's kind of now played its cards. So
yeah.
we'll you know
That's kind of what I was saying. I was trying to talk around the end
yeah
a little bit.
yeah,
But yeah, I think that it's going to be really good to
love the
have the
ending by the way
prince
though.
in his full body.
Yeah,
Yeah. So super good issue.
agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But that takes us to the end of the reviews this week, which means it's time for the Polis recommendation. Do you have
Good boy.
your choice, Katie? I
I
feel like
believe
I
I
know
do.
what your choice is going to be, but we'll see.
Which I love that you think that because I did not have a clear choice at first, but I think I have chosen because I
Okay,
feel like it was just a week of good books,
it
like
was. It absolutely was.
and
That being said, you're about to hold up. I think exactly what I know you're gonna.
I'm gonna choose Blood and Thunder.
I'm actually surprised.
What did you think I was gonna pull?
I thought after you went on and on and on about Titans, I thought you were going to pick Titans.
No, the thing is my I love Titans so much, but I was blue balled by the fight
That's fair.
scene.
That's
Um,
fair.
there's just a lot about Titans to be excited about, and I love talking about Titans. No,
That's
I
fair.
think Blood and Thunder was the most exciting issue of this week. I
Yeah.
was like so ready for it. I loved the characterization of our bad guy, and even though I wish we got a little more with Blood, if it would have been at the expense of our boy, I don't know that it would have worked as well. But Jay, do you have a pick for this week?
Yeah. Perhaps unsurprisingly, I'm going to fully agree with you. I think that Blood and Thunder is the best book of the week. I think people need to jump on a Blood and Thunder. This is a really, really cool and exciting, brand new, original, ongoing series, which is, I
Yes,
think, awesome.
which
Awesome.
is what we
This was a
always
phenomenal
want.
issue. It is.
Yeah,
Do more ongoings. Ongoing books are exciting.
they are, and they're really fun to put your
But I think
horse
Skybound is
behind.
doing a bunch of them right now. Like Skybound is
Love
all of
it.
a sudden re-upped their creator-owned, supply, which
Astounding.
is
Thank God.
very nice.
Somebody had to. But
but yeah,
aside from these wonderful books, we have more books coming at you next week. Jay, what are we going to be talking about?
we're going to be doing an iconic comic book fathers tier list to kind of mirror our comic book mothers tier list that we did last month. And then I think we're still unsure about where this is going, but we will have a Bylines and Blood bonus episode going up at some point. So it might be up when you're watching this. It might not. Might be up this coming weekend. It'll be up at some point, and you can enjoy it whenever it goes up. But Katie, we have, of course, our main episode coming up next week. Do you want to tell the people the many polls that we will have next week?
Absolutely. So we are going to be talking about Crush Depth, Hyde Street, Justice League Unlimited, Minor Arcana, Ultimate Spider-Man, Void Rivals, and We're Taking Everyone Down With Us. There's some real faves jammed in there. It's a good week.
Yeah, good week.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much everything we've got going on. So please check out another video if you enjoyed this one. Leave us comments down below on any books you want to see us poll and review in the future. But that's it for this week. We'll see you next week. Comic Geeks.